Hey friends, it's Allison here, jumping in real quick before you get into all the juicy details of today's episode. Did you know there is just one more week left to our 200th episode giveaway where you have the chance to win a full ride scholarship to the Better Belly Blueprint? This is the way to heal your gut so that you can poop daily, ditch acid reflux, and balance your hormones even when nothing else has worked. Here's how you can enter. Leave a rating and review on the Better Belly podcast on Apple Podcast or Spotify between now and May 29th. Take a screenshot of that rating and review, then go to betterbellytherapies.com/giveaway and fill out our 200th episode giveaway form. You will automatically receive an email with a code for $200 off the Better Belly Blueprint, which you're going to get as soon as you send in that form. And then a full scholarship winner is going to be announced on May 30th and messaged by email. If you win, you're going to win a full scholarship to the Better Belly Blueprint. And if you don't win, you can still get $200 off, which is 20% off of the Better Belly Blueprint if you join by May 31st at midnight. So go ahead and leave a rating and review. Get that giveaway form filled out at betterbellytherapies.com/giveaway, and you can finally end your constipation, acid reflux, and PMS for good. Do you struggle with chronic abdominal pain despite feeling like you eat and live healthy? Do you ever feel like you might be making your symptoms up in your head because other people, like your doctor or your lab results, aren't saying there's any reason why you could be feeling that way? Or have you ever gotten some improvement in your health after diet change and lifestyle change only for your symptoms to start coming back? If so, you are like my client, Dessie. When Dessie started working with me, she was dealing with intense abdominal pain that would strike regularly and force her to stop anything that she was doing. She was regularly being interrupted while cooking meals for her family, taking care of her children, or having family time in the evening while watching a movie or playing games. She was also struggling with deep fatigue and consistent joint pain, which couldn't be explained. After trying many things, including doctor visits and dietary changes, Dessie joined the Foundations program and got functional lab testing that finally explained why she was feeling the way she was. These lab results then told us what we could do about her symptoms. If you're dealing with abdominal pain, deep fatigue, and symptoms that just can't be explained, then buckle up because you won't want to miss this episode. And note, on today's episode, you are listening to part 2 of Dessie's story after 6 months of working with me. To hear more about Dessie's story after only working with me for 3 months, check out episode 35. Get rid of abdominal pain, joint pain, and fatigue, lose 10 pounds, and feel better than ever. Welcome to the Better Belly podcast, where we find freedom from food restrictions, we increase energy in our lives, and we begin to feel more healthy and vibrant than ever by finding the root causes of our health problems. My name is Allison Jordan. I'm a marathon runner, functional medicine health coach, certified craniosacral therapist, gut health nerd, lover of Jesus, and owner of Better Belly Therapies, a clinic based in Ann Arbor, Michigan that works with both virtual and local clients to help them achieve the best health of their life. I am here to walk with you on your journey to a better belly and a better life. We're going to go beyond popping a probiotic and just checking out our poop. In this show, we are going to go deep into gut transformation strategies that last for your entire life. If you are ready to feel your best, get ready to roll. You are in the right place. And just as a reminder, this information is not meant to diagnose, manage, or treat disease. Always consult with your own health practitioner before you make any changes to your health. Awesome. Well, Dessie, welcome to your 6-month follow-up. I have already told you I'm very excited for today's call. And the last time that we chatted was 3 months ago, and we found some really cool stuff. We actually only shared with our listeners, or only shared on the podcast, all the things you've done up until that next 3 months. But when we kind of finished our recording and talked about our strategy for the 3 months that just passed, we found some really cool stuff. And based off of, I think we found the right stuff and we did some of the right stuff because based off of what you shared here, Dessie, you are feeling way better. So can you tell me more about that?
Yes. Well, I feel like a new person, honestly. All of the abdominal pain that I was experiencing before is completely gone. And I just feel like everything in my life has improved, from some pain that I was experiencing in my body to sleep issues that I was having. All of those issues are now gone. And I just feel really great.
That is amazing. I didn't like when you came to me with your upper abdominal pain, you said like I think you were saying like if you were hanging out with your kids or something and you started getting it, you'd have to like stop whatever you were doing and go lay down because it was so painful.
That's
So
true.
it was no small amount of pain. And the first time that we met, so 3 months ago, when we followed up after creating your health plan, it went from you had rated it on a scale of 0 to 10, like a 10, which which makes sense, and it had improved to a 3, and you were pretty pleased with that. Since 3 months ago, though, you're saying that it's improved even more. Is that true?
Yes, absolutely. I was just going to say, I don't have any pain at all.
Which is amazing. Like, when, and I'm trying to remember if this was a part of our conversation when we met, at the very beginning of this, were you dealing with like things like kind of trying to fry your brain of like what food is causing this problem? Was that part of what you were experiencing?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. And that is so common. Like I think you're like, I'm trying to figure out what food is causing all these problems. And now when you look back, do you see how it wasn't so much the food at all? I mean, there's some foods we've cut out for you 100%, but it wasn't even cutting out the foods that got you to a 0. It was, on abdominal pain. That's correct, right?
Right. That's true.
So
Yeah, that's very true.
are you okay? Can you talk about what we found on the round of tests that we just did? Like, because so we met up 3 months ago, things had improved, and I said, I bet there's something else. What else? Do you remember what we found on your second round of testing?
Yes, I had, well, shoot, now I'm blanking on.
That's okay. Quiz.
That's okay. um,
You
all I
said
can
that
think of is E. coli. That's not it.
that's not it. You
No.
remember you were a nurse and you worked with
Oh,
with this population,
yes, C. diff. That's what it is. C.
right? You
diff.
had Clostridia difficile, which
Yes. Which is not good.
you
No.
had. It was, but it was amazing because I know when we met last, I kind of wanted to ask you, even when we met, I knew I wanted to ask you this. Um, when we met 3 months ago, did you believe, could you have, even if you weren't meeting with me and I hadn't told you I think things could get better, would you have believed things could have gotten even better?
Um, I guess I was hopeful for that,
Okay,
but I
yeah.
felt so good at that time that I thought, well, I'm not sure it can improve much on where I am at this moment. But I was actually experiencing some abdominal pain again, and I was following a diet that had been working for me, and following the protocol that you had set up for me. And so I couldn't quite figure out why I was experiencing some abdominal pain. So that diagnosis helped explain some of that. And so I felt like, okay, I'm not going crazy. There is something going on. So,
Right. Right. I mean, it
yeah.
was it was so good. And I remember when we were looking over your results, you actually had some things get worse. You had a bunch of stuff get better, which we talked about on the podcast. And then we kind of talked about the things I was like, oh, this, I think you're some of just hormone related things and some mood related stuff. And I was like, oh, it's a really classic sign of C. diff. And we actually have a whole podcast episode on this that we can link in our show notes for this, of like, is your mood out of whack? Here's one reason to check your gut and actually talk about C. diff specifically, because it's hidden and people pick it up at hospitals because it's antibiotic resistant. Um, and that's where you picked it up.
Lucky me.
Right. I am so curious. It's been 6 months. And what is something that you have learned on this journey since starting that has surprised you, or what has surprised you the most in our work together?
Well, I think I already knew how important diet is in in your body, not just for your physicality, but for your mentality and just your whole well-being. But I think, I thought that I was a pretty healthy person prior to meeting with you, and I thought that I was, eating the quote right foods, but they weren't necessarily the right foods for my body. And so I think just being open to exploring some new avenues and just realizing and acknowledging how helpful foods can actually be for your body, in a healing way, um, has been really eye opening for me. So just cutting out a lot of the foods that I used to eat that I don't eat anymore, and realizing that I don't really miss them, and actually they're healing, is a really good feeling for me, and it's good to know.
That's great to hear. Can you share what some of the foods are that weren't good for your body, or some of the foods that you find are healing for it right now?
I would eat like grains, things like corn or rice, quinoa, which I never really liked quinoa, but supposedly it's very healthy for you.
Right,
So
right.
I would eat. Um, and mostly I have cut out gluten from my life. And I thought that I would really, really miss the grains and a lot of the gluten and some of the sweets too. I didn't realize how much of a sweet tooth I had prior to embarking on this journey. But every night after dinner, I used to want to have something sweet to finish off my evening, and I don't have those cravings anymore. And I don't miss the grains. I don't feel like they're um, an essential part of my diet, and I really am enjoying all the vegetables and the healthy grass-fed meats that I'm eating, and just trying to enjoy what nature is giving me instead of something that comes in a box.
Right. And I mean, Desi, just to give you a lot of honor and credit is that you actually chose the route where we don't like do any coaching calls between our follow-up sessions, and where we're tweaking your what looks like it'll be helpful to your body. And you've implemented a lot of this on your own and gone through a lot of the processing on your own. So just kudos to you for that. That can be a hard process. The other thing, though, that I think is really cool, and I might have mentioned on our last time talking together, is cravings and that kind of need, that digging need to eat something, maybe whether it's just something period, like needing to, feeling like you need to eat, or needing something specific, like something sweet or something carby or something with gluten. That can be a form of part of the pathological process, this like disease process. And when you actually get healthier, they go away because of all the other things that go on that make us crave things. And so, would you say you feel like you don't even really need to use willpower to kind of eat in a way that is helpful to you?
No, I don't at all. It's just my way of life now.
Right. And I was literally just on a call with another client today who had her 1 month follow up. So she's not even 3 months in. And she says already she isn't craving stuff. And you start to realize that there's another force inside of your body that's not just you. It's not just you and your brain. And if you're eating sweets or you're eating certain things, it's all your fault. There's actually your gut and your microbiome, and they can really impact how you feel, like if you feel hungry or if you want certain foods. That's part of how the microbiome works. And so your microbiome is much healthier and happier, and it's reflecting that you feel at ease. And I have shared in our podcast before, I think are you a podcast listener? um, yeah, you said yes. I didn't hear it, but I think I saw your mouth do it. And and that you're experiencing that when I say health is should be this easy thing, not like dis-ease, which is the state of sickness. And it sounds like you're experiencing that.
I would definitely agree with that.
So good. That's what I want to hear. Or that's the goal. And we hit it. So I'm curious, what is one of the things that you most valued in our work together? What was one of the most valuable things to you that we did together?
Oh my gosh. Um, there's so much. Um, let's see. Well, I think just the testing that you did for me initially, testing my sensitivities for different foods and just what was going on with my gut was just so helpful for me in understanding again that this abdominal pain that I had was legitimate and not just something that I was making up, because I had gone to a GI doctor prior to coming to you. And basically, he just told me to kind of deal with it and take some Metamucil every day, and that was going to help me feel better. I was doubting myself, like, okay, maybe I'm just making this up in my head. This isn't a real issue. But getting those test results and talking with you and then implementing the protocol that you set for me, I think that really changed everything for me and really made a difference in my life.
That's awesome. I know your husband was a little bit a part of the process. Can you share with us at all what it was like for him for you to go through this? I actually don't know too much myself, so I don't know what you're going to say. What was it like? He sat in on one of our calls, and just the information you were sharing with him. What was it like? Do you know much about what it was like for him?
Yeah, I think he's always very supportive of anything that I do. And so just with this, implementing a new diet and making him eat some of the new ways and the new foods that I was eating,
Right.
he was very open to all of it, never complained, and just he was very supportive. And I think that was super helpful for me, because sometimes it's not hard to change your diet dramatically and to, in the beginning, I cut out a lot of things from my diet. And so just to keep on that path and not get frustrated by it or miss things that, other people could eat, that was very helpful.
Right. So good for him. I'm Another thing is it's been 6 months. When I first said we are going to work together for 6 months, did you feel like that would be a long time? Was it like, oh, 6 months is going to take that long?
Well, I did feel like that was going to be a long time. And at first, when I was embarking on this journey, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can make it to 6 months. But it actually went by really quickly, and it worked out just fine. So I didn't need to be as scared as I was.
Right, right. Yeah, if someone told me anything's going to take 6 months that I kind of wanted to happen yesterday, that's just too long. But we also know that you started feeling better within 2 weeks. Like you started the protocol
Yeah.
and you at least had some relief. It wasn't like it took you to 6 months to have any feelings better,
Right.
but the cumulative effect. And the cool thing is one of the reasons it's 6 months, and I want to just reaffirm to you, even as we're finishing our work together, is that 6 months or what we accomplished here sticks. It's not like a yo-yo of when you stop working with me, something's going to come back. Like, sure, there's going to be certain foods that I'm going to encourage you to stay away from, but you're not going to have to stay on all the supplements. You're not going to have to, like, this was a healing and kind of like putting on a cast, and you can take off the cast once something has
Yeah.
healed. And so that's another good reason for the 6 months. When you started, I'm also curious. I know finances can be a really big thing of like, this is an investment. It's, not paid for by insurance. And I think we can be very used to like health related things should be paid for and by insurance. What has that been like? Do you feel like was it worth it? Was it worth what you invested in to do this?
Oh, absolutely. I kind of went into this knowing that it was going to cost me a lot of money, or a fair amount of money.
Right.
but I think I was at that point where I just wanted relief and I was going to do whatever it took to get relief. And so I just knew that I was going to do what I had to do. And it has definitely been worth every penny.
If you had to give a percentage, do you have any idea like how much a percentage of like your day or your week you've gotten back in terms of quality energy and maybe even, I don't know, not needing to sleep as much or just, yeah, probably like quality energy?
Oh my gosh. I would say like 90%. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I have such a surprised face. No one can see that. I was not expecting to say 90. That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Probably shows a little bit how you had been feeling.
Right.
I mean, 90, I mean, 90, that's kind of like 90% of your life. You were alive for all those days, or all those hours, but you didn't have the energy to fill them.
No.
That's amazing. Can I share some of the other things that you have on here? I mean, most of your numbers that you shared, because we have a intake form that we follow up with and that you filled out, and you start with when we start working together, you fill out all your symptoms, where they're at on like a scale of 0 to 10 or a scale of 0 to 5. And for most of them, you increase somewhere between 90 to 100%. So abdominal pain started at a 10 is at a 0. That's 100%. You had some fatigue. It was started at 5, it's down to 1. That's a good chunk. You started with joint pain, you had a 6, and now that's a 1, which is awesome because I don't think you needed anything like massage therapy or chiropractic care, right?
No.
And that
Mm-mm.
joint pain we kind of theorized was probably systemic inflammation, just like your body being so inflamed from certain foods you're eating and from the pathogens in your gut. And then I was like, yeah, when we clear that out, I bet that pain's going to go away. And really, really minimal. Um, let's see. I saw some other fun things on it. You don't bruise as easily. You put that down.
Yes, I know it's true.
I love it. You're not as cold, and that's actually new. Like you were still struggling with some problems of feeling cold 3 months ago, but that's actually halved. That's a 50% improvement. You went from a 4 to a 2. Have do you love that?
Yes, I do.
That is, it's amazing. And we're actually going to talk a little bit about, you got some blood chemistry done, and thyroid can sometimes get into how warm we're able to be, and so we want to keep track of how's your thyroid doing. And heat can sometimes be metabolism, not just like thyroid related, but like how well we're breaking down our foods. So I mean, just an overall big improvement. I had seen some good ones. I'm looking through it. There's just so many pieces of data. Anything else that sticks out to you that, what, even if it wasn't your like top stuff? I know you mentioned sleep. I don't know if you want to tell us more about sleep.
Yeah, sleep has improved drastically. I mean, I have a Fitbit and it tells me, how well I'm sleeping. And prior to starting all of this, I would get like a score of 50, which is like poor. And I had no idea that I was sleeping so poorly at the time. And then as we've gone through this process, I'm now consistently getting scores in the upper 80s. And so that, I mean, I can tell a huge difference in how well I'm sleeping and how well I feel during the day because of how well I'm sleeping.
Yeah. Here's one thing you have here. When we started working together, you rated on a scale of 0 to 5 that you felt sensitive to odors, flowers, or chemicals on 4. 4 was what you rated. And now it's a 1. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, I've always been very sensitive to smells, especially if they're very strong. But I don't seem to be as bothered by them now. So I'm not exactly sure why, but in any case, I'm happy about it.
We actually have a whole podcast episode dedicated to that, and I mentioned this concept on several of our podcast episodes. But we have the gut sinus connection, which is one of our podcast episodes, and then actually the gut skin connection can also give a somewhat better look into it. Though this isn't technically your skin, unless you do notice that you've had chemical sensitivities on your skin, whether that's like perfume or detergents. You're nodding, yeah. Okay, yeah. So you've had both, which what is happening is your liver is responsible for packaging up toxins and transporting them in a neutralized way out of the body. But whenever our body's overly burdened, the liver can't handle everything. And so burdens could be food sensitivities, which you definitely had going on. Burdens could be pathogens, which you definitely had going on. You had multiple layers of that. Burdens could be the toxins themselves of like food that isn't organic, so it has pesticides and herbicides on it. But here's the thing: even if we lived in caveman Stone Age and didn't have chemicals the way we do now, we would still come into contact with toxins. That's just a given. The fire coming up from, or smoke coming up from a fire, things like that. So your body is designed to process chemicals. It just couldn't. It was like, it was the last on the list. And so your body was having to deal with it through the skin and through your sinus pathways. And it was just creating irritation responses. I mean, that can be everything from postnasal drip to rashes and eczema. And so it actually tells me your liver is much happier.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just amazing. We didn't have to do any topical creams for that. We didn't have to do, I don't know, nasal sprays. So just really phenomenal stuff. Well, Dessie, we are going to hop off of this update. I mean, it was amazing to hear your update. And thank you so much again for being willing to share. I knew that the 6 month was just going to be even better than the 3 month follow-up. And we're going to spend the rest of our the rest of our hour here talking about what it'll look like for you moving forward. Sound good?
Yes, sounds great. Thanks so much for your help.
All right. Thanks, Dessie. Awesome. Well, I hope you guys loved that testimonial with Dessie and that it encouraged you that you too can have freedom in your health. You don't have to be stuck not knowing the answers of why you're feeling the way you're feeling. And you can be free from your symptoms in as early as 6 months. It's phenomenal, and really stay healed. If you are ready to find the root cause of what's going on in your health, apply today for the Foundations Program waitlist. The Foundations Program is a 6 month program that helps clients like you find the root cause of what's going on with their gut pain, fatigue, hormone imbalance, and more. We use 4 foundational functional labs to help you find what's going on so you can stop guessing and get a plan to walk through and get healing in your health. Again, apply for the Foundations Program waitlist today. You can go to betterbellytherapies.com/waitlist or click the link in the show notes. Or if you are a client local to Metro Detroit, we have an in-person office. I would love to meet you in my office in our Metro Detroit clinic. So you can book a new client evaluation by going to betterbellytherapies.com/booking or by clicking the link in the show notes. Well, if you love this episode, we have so much more coming down the line. So subscribe so you never miss a beat. And if you have a friend that you thought of while you listened to this episode, take a screenshot and share it with that friend. I cannot count how many times when I tell someone I'm a gut health therapist that they say, "Oh, I know someone who needs you." So send that friend a love note to their gut and do us a favor and pass this podcast along to them. Other ways that you can stay in the conversation with us is by following us on Instagram at betterbellytherapies.com. I love connecting with our listeners, and it means so much if you drop by and said hi. And lastly, if this podcast episode or any podcast episode before this has meant something to you, please drop in and leave a rating and review on our Apple iTunes or Spotify. It means so much if you just share some of the things that are hitting you and speaking to you and encouraging you in these podcast episodes, so I know what content I can make more of for you. Well, let's leave off with our motto for today. Miracles are immediate, but healing takes time. You are healing. You are on your way to healing. You are not stuck. I believe in you. Let's do this.